Previously on X-Men.
Hello, Chef. The name is Gambit, mon ami. Every man has his price to pay, and price to charge. If I've learned anything with the life of the After Credits cast, it's that anything is possible. When you go to patreon.com/evacstation, for less than the cost of getting Gambit his own movie, you can support this show. Not calling you thieves, just asking for a little change. Again, that's patreon.com/evacstation. Now, Gambit's gotta go get his dick wet down in the bayou if you, catch my drift, Shuri. Podcasting is the key to our entertainment. It has enabled us to evolve from talking about movies at a theater with our friends into talking about movies on the internet as if we have some kind of authority. Now free from the monarch captors, we leap forward into a new era of the After Credits cast. I'm Aaron J. Wolverine, and with me today is Ryan Magneto. I'm not sure what's going on there.
That is me levitating to my chair, Aaron.
Oh, got it. This week's intro song. So we're going to do different intro songs this week, and they're all going to be the X-Men theme, because I love that song so much. This is going to be... Today's episode was the original X-Men theme from the animated series by Ron Wasserman. Prepare for remixes of that literally every week. It's going to be great. And of course, if you would like to keep up with the show, you can go to Facebook, Tumblr, Twitter. You can also find us on various platforms of your choice. That's going to be YouTube, Peepa, iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, TuneIn, and Podcast Addict. And if you want to leave comments down below on any of those platforms, or if you want to email us directly to let us know your favorite X-Men movies, your favorite mutants, just anything fun in general. Even if you want to make fun of my horrible French accent, you can do that too. Ryan, what's the best place they can go do that at?
That would be Storm's Weak African Accent at Gmail. Excuse me. I'm sorry. That's at evacstation@gmail.com.
I know I shouldn't throw stones, but I think my French accent's better than her African accent. And she's a trained fucking actress.
I love Halle Berry, but the direction on this was like, guys, no. No.
I saw Black Panther a scant year ago, Ryan, and I can say for sure that any one of those actors would have been a much better choice.
Yeah. Oh my god, Michonne from The Walking Dead as Storm. I'm all
over that.
Mind.
I'm all over that. Do it. Do it, nerds. Okay, so speaking of Walking Dead, Ryan, let's get into the next segment, which is What You Watchin'. What have you been watching this week?
Well, I've been spending a good amount of time on YouTube. I watch a couple of gaming channels where they do they do reviews on a bunch of games, and they're really interesting in their critiques. And I saw a game that I'm considering jumping on. It's entirely not what I really dig, but all the good stuff that I keep hearing about it it's making me consider it. It's Tom Clancy's The Division 2.
Ooh, I've heard mixed things about that.
Yeah, so it's a looter shooter, and I'm not really into those. Like, I tried with Destiny so hard, but it only really worked because I had a group of people to play with and was enjoying it, but that got old real fast. But everything that I've heard about the Division 2 is actually really, really good. They're really good about loot and like giving you like really interesting things. It's been compared to Borderlands 2 in terms of like uh, the plethora of loot options that you get. The story is pretty really cool. The AI is varied and intensive. It forces you to kind of keep moving even as you do like more missions over and over again. Apparently, it's really worth the cost of admission. So I might. I still don't know if I'm going to jump into it because I'm mostly a solo player and I don't know too many people who play the Division.
I feel you.
It's definitely giving me a look.
I feel you. I'm more of a solo player too. There is one game I saw that I'm looking forward to check out later this year, which is called Astral Chain, which is a new Platinum game coming out, I think, in late spring, early summer. And it sounds like right up my alley. I don't know if it's co-op or if it's single player, but you're chained to another character while you're fighting, and apparently, like, you do combos with that character. It's gonna be really interesting to see how that plays out.
Really? Huh.
And it's a Switch exclusive.
Ooh, nice.
Yep. Platinum has been getting a lot of good stuff over the Switch, and I am okay with that because that's a great platform and it looks like a fun game. As for what you're watching, so Ryan, a few weeks ago, and I actually do think it's maybe even about a month. Well, actually, I don't remember if I mentioned it during the Godzilla season or the Marvel season now, but either way, a few weeks ago, I mentioned that I finished watching Rooster Teeth's newest series of anime, Genlock. So, with the end of that series begins a new season of an old series. My personal favorite, Red vs. Blue, where the Reds and Blues are fucking at the time stream, and it looks fucking hilarious. I'm only a couple episodes in so far. They haven't gotten too far into it yet. At the time of recording, I'm sure by the time this comes out, they'll be like halfway through the season, but whatever. But no, I'm just having a lot of fun. It's cool to see Donut getting the main role for a change, and it's just fun seeing all these time shenanigans. Time shenanigans are always fun.
Coglia? Nope, not yet.
Not this time. Not this time. But yeah, keep it simple. That's what I got for my week. Nothing too crazy. I'm saving some stuff for episodes we have not recorded yet, but you'll have already heard. So just you wait, guys. Just you wait.
Nice.
So, welcome to our new season of podcast, which we shall call the Disneymation. As the age of Fox X-Men draws to a close, a new age of mutants in the MCU will inevitably begin. This name is based off the X-Men comic story Decimation, which takes place after Scarlet Witch's House of M storyline, where she eradicates all but a few of the mutants. I felt it was very fitting.
Very nice. I like the name.
Yep. So we're going to bid a fond farewell to the currently longest-running series of Marvel films of many, many years, which is kind of strange to think about if you think about it. We're going to give them a final look. And note, we won't be covering the Wolverine solo movies or Deadpool this time around, but we're going to probably revisit those down the road at some point. So let's begin. To start off the Disneymation, we have 2000's X-Men, directed by alleged child rapist Bryan Singer, while Tom DeSanto and alleged child rapist Bryan Singer also wrote the film. Please note, any praise given to these films will not apply to alleged child rapist Bryan Singer.
Oh my god.
Ryan, I gotta put that up front, because I don't want people saying, oh, we're supporting him. No, we're totally not. Totally not.
Alrighty.
The film would go on to make $296,339,000, which is about 4 times what it cost, Ryan. Mm-hmm. Not bad. The robust cast includes various names, such as Ray Parker, Tyler Mane, Anna Paquin, Halle Berry, James Marsden, Rebecca Romaine, Famke Jensen. Is that how you pronounce that? Famke Jensen. Ian McKellen, Patrick Stewart, and a huge jacked man to play our angry Canadian.
I just want to correct you. It's actually Ray Park, who also played and did the stunt work for Darth Maul.
Yep.
Just gonna put that out there.
That's very true. He had a much better role with that one, I think.
Well, I mean, they didn't make him talk. I'm so sorry.
You know, I'm not opposed to him talking, but I feel like the dialogue in this movie was very lacking.
It's very true. Well, I mean, some of the dialogue was pretty boss, but yes, it did fall. It did fall in some places.
This movie won 13 awards, surprisingly, which includes Best Actor, Best Sci-Fi Film, Best Supporting Actress, Best Director, Best Writing, and Best Costumes from the Academy of Sci-Fi, Fantasy, and Horror. A lot of stuff there. Best Visual Effects from the ACCA. Best Support Actor and Supporting Actress from the Blockbuster Entertainment Awards. A BMI Film Music Award given to composer Michael Kamen, and the Empire Award for Best Director. Ryan, what's going on here? What's going on in the Fun Facts Corner?
All right, well, some fun facts for you guys. This huge, jacked man took ice-cold showers every morning of filming in order to help get into character. Now, the tradition started when jumping into a shower at 5 a.m. before realizing there was no hot water. He was shocked awake, but he didn't want to wake his sleeping wife, so he gritted his teeth and bore it, before realizing that this mindset, wanting to scream and lash out at something, but having to hold it in, was the mentality that Wolverine is constantly in. He then made cold showers his Wolverine preparation routine for each movie featuring the character. That is cool. Really cool. And as someone who... I don't take cold shower, like only cold showers, but in the mornings, I will finish off my shower with just shutting the water onto all cold and rinsing myself off. It's definitely a great way to just kind of wake up and jolt yourself. And it also has a bunch of health benefits, but taking an entirely cold shower, yeah, that's
that sounds horrible.
Pretty nuts. It's pretty nuts, man.
I'm gonna have to consider trying that out. I'm gonna have to consider trying out your idea, Ryan. That sounds pretty interesting.
Yeah, it's Allegra. It's as is most of my best ideas lately. Anyway, so next off, to celebrate her last day on set, Rebecca Ramin Stamos bought in a bottle of tequila, which she gave to her fellow cast and crew during a break in filming. Unfortunately, that day, she happened to be filming the Wolverine and Mystique fight scene, and she threw up blue-covered vomit from the chemicals in her makeup all over Hugh Jackman. Not the greatest move, Rebecca. You should have waited until after the scene was filmed.
Yeah,
anyway,
probably.
Yeah, that actually puts a whole new spin on that fight scene, because I couldn't tell, but that's kind of ridiculous. Alright, so the last fun fact that I've got for you guys today is the mansion that was used as Xavier's school also served as the Madison Mansion in Billy Madison, 1995, the Luther Mansion in Smallville in 2001, and the Queen Mansion in Arrow in 2012. That actually blows my mind.
I picked that fact out for you because I knew that last one would get you.
That actually really blows my mind. Well played, ladies and gentlemen.
We'll get to some initial thoughts here. I'll take a stab at it first. I feel like this movie is definitely dated.
Yeah.
And what's funny is it feels more dated than some of the older movies we've actually seen. I think I could still go back to Die Hard and not feel like it's really that old. But this one I feel like, oh boy, y'all didn't age very well, did you? And the writing's kind of painfully weak in spots. But it's a nostalgia trip to say the least. And it's a great revisit because this is 20 years old basically. And it's amazing having seen Captain Marvel literally just the other day for us. And then coming to this, that is a fucking huge leap in film in general, and it's history, man. I really appreciate that. That's kind of what gets me in this one a lot.
I feel you. Okay. Well, my initial thoughts, definitely trip down memory lane here. The rose-tinted glasses don't quite hold up, because you're right. Some of these parts, some parts in the movie definitely hurt me to hear and watch. But the history of it, being the first real stab at a full comic book movie, I can appreciate the work it did in paving the way, because this is a gamble in a lot of ways by Fox. And it paid off, as you read earlier, 4 times as much money as it cost to make. I think that for the time, it was pretty damn good, and it it showed investors that comic book movies can definitely make money while also appealing to fans.
Yep.
So it's weak nowadays, but I definitely have to give it respect.
Well, I want everyone to keep in mind, too, that 3 years prior to this film, the movie that nearly killed the comic book movie industry was released, and I'm talking about Batman and Robin. So, this is a pretty big leap from that.
It is. You are correct.
With that, Ryan, I got a synopsis for you. You ready?
All right.
Here we go. Like all good films, our movie begins with opening narration, bad CGI title sequences, and an origin taking place in Nazi-occupied Poland, where one Eric Lenscher has quite the negative reaction to his parents being taken away. Positively sad, considering his magnetic personality. We fast forward to what the film tells us is the not-too-distant future, the year 2000. A Southern belle named Rogue shows us the best kind of STD prevention, deadly mutant powers. She runs away to meet Wolverine, another mutant, and the protagonist of, 10 films that he can't actually remember. They are attacked by Tyler Mane and rescued by arguably less important characters. When Wolverine wakes up, he finds himself in the Xavier Home for the Gifted, a school for mutants. Charles Xavier lore dumps all over him. It's just gross. And Cyclops puffs out his chest whenever Jean's around Wolverine.
He's fucking scrawny, man. What chest is there to puff out? Anyway, I'm sorry.
I wish that... I want to talk about that a little bit. Meanwhile, notable anti-mutant pundit, Senator Kelly, is kidnapped during one of his campaign rallies for a Mutant Registration Act. We'll revisit that here in a little bit. Our Polish boy, now known as Magneto, uses his bad CGI particle effects to turn the Senator into a mutant. Using his new powers, Kelly escapes and makes his way to the Xavier Mansion. An accidental midnight stabbing causes Rogue to run away and Wolverine to go after her. Magneto tosses him aside and kidnaps the girl. Probing Senator Kelly's mind and some cerebral assistance from Jean, they discover that Magneto is doing some bullshit over the Statue of Liberty and to turn all of New York into mutants. That sounds like a noble plan. I support this. Or he would, if the process worked, and the Senator dies of a gross death because of the mutation machine. And the team has to fight for the right to party. To stop this hastily thrown together evil plan. Fighting happens, and Wolverine is tossed up to the machine. Being a man with metal bones, he's kind of ineffectual at first. Cyclops gives him an assist, and the machine is kind of destroyed. New York is saved, and we get the origin of Rogue's stylish hair streak. Yep, that's what this movie is really all about, guys and girls. That hair streak.
Not that accent. Of course not.
Nope, not at all. Xavier tells Wolverine he has some intel on the compound in Canada that might give clues to his past. Stealing Cyclops' bike, yet again, Wolverine heads to the Great White North for some answers. To be continued next time on Dragon Ball Z. So Ryan, what did you think of that one?
It's pretty damn good. It's pretty damn apt. I had fun reliving this one, and it's hard to. There are some movies where your modern sensibilities directly clash with your nostalgia, and just the 5-year-old that's watching this through your eyes now. So this movie was one of those for me, because I remember losing my shit during the Wolverine Sabretooth fight, and when Wolverine catches the crown on the Statue of Liberty to kind of flip himself back up and pose. I remember young me was like, oh my god, this is the best thing ever! And now I'm like, oh my god, what is this CGI? What are we doing?
Well,
what are we doing? That doesn't work at all!
And what's funny is, back in the day when I watched this, I'd been informed by the cartoon shows, X-Men Evolution hadn't come out yet, but the 90s show had been out for a while. And so I was informed of all the X-Men lore from that show. So seeing them kind of ignore most of it in favor of just having the set pieces and the characters there, but not really living up to the original storylines, it was weird. And looking back on it, I get why they did it, because if they had to try to include a lot of that convoluted stuff, it would have made this movie a lot messier.
Remember that excuse when we get to X3, because I'm going to lean on it hard, all right?
Oh, no, I totally get it. But, for example, in the comics and in the cartoon and every other media, Sabretooth and Wolverine are bitter rivals who are at each other's throats every time. And it's a really good relationship to explore, really fun, and we kind of get a little bit of that in the Wolverine origin movie we're not going to touch this time. But in this film, we see Sabretooth and Wolverine fight, and I'm like, why aren't they, like, doing some, like, I'm gonna get you, Wolverine, and then Wolverine's like, not
just
this
like
time,
a line or two.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm not mad they didn't do it, because, again, I totally understand that trying to include all of that backstory and all that lore would be incredibly difficult for the short time span they've got, and for the budget they're probably working with. But still, it's one of those things where, as a kid, I'm seeing this, and I'm like, man, you guys are missing out on Rogue being able to fly. You're missing out on Jubilee. You're missing out on Shadowcat, who makes a brief appearance, which I'll get to next time a little bit more. You're missing out on fucking Sabretooth and Wolverine going at it. You're missing out on even cooler Magneto shit. Like, there's a lot of stuff they could be doing. But again, I totally get now that I'm older and can look back on it, why they went the way they did.
Yeah, I mean, like,
so
I can see it too.
I have an inverse of what you're going through, but I'm still, like, with you on the fact that it doesn't really quite hold up as well as it could.
Yeah, I still had fun watching the movie again. It's just, but the flaws that are inherent in the movie are definitely visible to 29-year-old Ryan, whereas, like, 9-year-old Ryan was just like, oh my god, this is amazing! She fucking hit him with a bolt of lightning! That was amazing!
Hey Ryan, what happens when you strike a toe with lightning?
Oh my god. So remember when I told you that there were some parts of the movie that were, like, painful for me to watch and listen to? You just, poked it. You just, like, jabbed it.
You know what line would have worked way better there? It croaks.
Just...
Less is more, guys. Less is more. Just want to point it out there.
Oh, God in heaven.
Should we jump into this a bit?
Yeah, let's jump into it. Come on.
Okay. So, I want to start with a big one here that I thought was really interesting. So, Ryan, I assume you are familiar with X-Men cartoons, comics a little bit, and all that stuff.
Of course.
So, Wolverine kind of plays the reluctant father figure in a lot of these media versions to some young girl who acts kind of as our POV character. In the comics, and the 90s cartoon, it was Jubilee. In X-Men Evolution and Days of Future Past, it was Shadowcat. In Logan, it was X-23. And here we have Rogue. So I guess my question is, do you think Rogue fits that role really well? Or do you think you would have had a different mutant girl in place if you were casting it?
Absolutely, I would have changed it. 100%. I'm actually kind of glad you brought this up first, because, I mean, like, Rogue, like, the only reason that Rogue is actually the title, like, the character here, is because her power is essential to the plot at the end. Like if
she's a plot device.
Yeah, she is actually a plot device. If it wasn't for the fact that Magneto could give her powers and use her to power this machine to do fuck all and turn the world leaders into mutants, it would have worked infinitely better if she was, like, actually Jubilee. Jubilee would have been a better sell, because, like Rogue's whole angst is the fact that she can't get close to people, she can't touch people. If you had altered it just a little bit, where, like, Rogue, like, where Jubilee accidentally starts, like, setting off firecrackers and, like, firing off photons when she touches people, you would have got the same, like, trouble from her. And it would have made more sense, because Jubilee and Logan are definitely, like, father-daughter figures, or just, like, male role model to, like, female, like, young person. It would have made a lot more sense. Also,
it would have been visually more interesting, too.
It would have been visually more interesting, but then again, they probably didn't have the budget to do Jubilee.
Probably not.
So, yeah, I wish it was somebody else, but yeah.
I agree, and I think the main reason I think this is because Rogue's character is just so much more than a, like, lost young girl. Mm-hmm. Like, in all the media I've seen, there's such a good, like, well of stories you could do with her character just because of her powers alone. And I'm not even talking about as a plot device with Magneto and shit, but, like, you know, there's actual genuine, like, you know, romantic hang-up she has. There's, like, all this, like, friendliness, togetherness she kind of has to distance herself from, how she uses her powers and when she uses her powers. There's just so much about her character that could take its own movie all by itself, and we kind of have to focus on Wolverine instead, because he's the selling character here. So, I feel like, yeah, her being in this role disservices her character more than anything else.
Yeah. Especially because they only focused on the really shitty part of her power. Arguably, it is the most powerful, but I mean, she doesn't have the flight, she doesn't have the super strength. Granted, she didn't fully drain Miss Marvel, which is
we'll get there.
she
we'll get there.
gets
MCU's
the
happening.
powers, but yeah.
We'll get there, Ryan. But no, the other thing.
No, if they have Rogue kill Captain Marvel, I'm like, we're gonna have a fucking riot.
I'll be okay with it if they have Camilla Khan ready to go up to be the next Miss Marvel.
Fair.
I could accept that.
That's fair.
But I was going to say, no, the reason that this bothers me a little bit is because in X-Men Evolution, there's actually a storyline in which, is it Jean? I think Jean has a weird issue with her powers, where she's reading everyone's minds and everything and can't control it. And to help her out, Rogue actually taps her a little bit to drain her powers. And they actually become really close friends because their personalities kind of mesh a bit better for a little bit, and they kind of have a better understanding of each other. And I'm like, that would be a good storyline for, like, a short movie or even half a film. That could be a B-plot or something. That'd be really good. And we're kind of not getting anything like that with any of these movies. So just wanted to throw that out there.
I feel you. But so this also speaks to like pretty much an overarching limitation of the movie. This is essentially like a multi-million-dollar gamble by Fox, and so while they definitely want to give comic book movies a shot, and in the first real adaptation from comic to big screen, silver screen, they also are kind of hedging their bets hard, which is A, the reason for the reduced budget, and B, really the dumbing down of a lot of different storylines.
Oh boy.
Where they want to make it as they want to kind of make it as palatable for mass audiences and not only cater to comic book nerds. So they're definitely half stepping, and when you compare it to the comic book movies that we have nowadays, where it's just like, fuck it, man, here's a raccoon with a fucking Gatling gun, go. It's like,
I want to say this. If Fox can keep up this series of X-Men movies, which, let's be fair here, Ryan, a lot poorly. Some of them are really good. A lot of them are kind of in the middle ground. But if Fox can keep this film franchise up for 17 years? 17 years basically.
Yeah.
If they can keep it up that long and still be successful with it, imagine what Marvel's going to do with it here in the next few years. Just imagine what they're going to do.
I actually think Marvel is I think Marvel is much better set off to handle this than Fox did, and more specifically because there is they had the perfect casting for one character, and rather than expand on the whole entirety of the hold on, they had the perfect casting for one character. And instead of expand and work on the rest of the franchise and making that as strong as that one character, they banked on that one character and gave him 7 movies.
You are totally
Am I wrong?
What about Xavier and Magneto? They're also really well casted.
Oh, no. I'm not saying that everybody else was miscast. What I'm saying, though, is that they hit gold with Hugh Jackman. And rather than also bring the rest of the franchise to match that, they said, we're betting it all on that one dude. I mean, Patrick Stewart and Sir Ian McKellen, I will watch them all day. I can watch that ending scene of them playing chess all day. And when that comes up in a later... when that conversation comes up in later adaptations of X-Men, it was the one scene that really, got me running, because I was like, oh my god, they did the callback! They did the callback, it was amazing! Still, the studio banked on Hugh Jackman, and here's a bunch of Wolverine movies. And they were fun, but they definitely put their money towards what worked, as opposed to tried and developed.
And I mean, it shows when you get to the end of the franchise, and you have, Logan as a movie, and it is, the pinnacle, the best of what Fox was able to put out. I know I'm kind of jumping the gun there a little bit, but I personally think that's the case.
I think so too. I mean, shit, it was an amazing movie. We will One day we'll talk about Logan. One day.
One day.
God, it was amazing.
Let's go rogue adjacent real quick. So ignoring the fact that Iceman is gay in the comics, does the Iceman as a love interest work for you for Rogue, or would you prefer them having young Gambit in the movie? I personally would have gone young Gambit myself because I just admire that character so much. Like, he's a fucking piece of shit, but I absolutely love his character. In all senses of the word.
Here's the thing. I love Gambit, but I can't see 15-year-old Gambit. When I think of Gambit, I think of, like, 25-year-old pool shark fucking hitting on women, having drinks, playing cards Gambit, who's constantly trying to flirt with Rogue, and Rogue is so fucking strong and self-assured, she's like, nah, I'm good, until they finally fall in love, which is wonderful. So, if you had a full adult Rogue, then I would say Gambit. Otherwise, since we're going with like the young teenage Rogue, I think Iceman works as a replacement, a stand-in for Gambit, because I can't see whiny 16-year-old Gambit.
I think it's funny you think he'd be a whiny 16-year-old. I personally think that even as the adult version he acts like a fucking horny 16-year-old.
Yeah, but a horny 16-year-old just reads weird.
A little bit, sure, but still.
It reads weirdly.
Okay. So moving on from that, because I think we hit a good stride there. Okay, so we were talking about Wolverine being cast, whether he was good or not, and I think we can agree. I mean, he got to Logan. He was good all around. Yeah. I do look forward to them being recast down the road with like a gruffer, uglier dude, because Wolverine is kind of an ugly motherfucker in the comics. So I'd love to see like what they do with that.
They'll have to hold off on that for a good long while. They honestly will.
Ryan,
they have.
Here's my dream casting idea. Okay, I guess not dream casting, but dream like way you write Wolverine back into the fold. So I think for the first X movie Marvel does, basic team. Don't include Wolverine. Maybe include Storm, because she has really gotten a good chance to like shine at all in these movies. Let's be real. Basic cast, your Cyclops, your Jean, your Storm, fucking Beast and Angel. Just keep it simple. Then, either in the second or third movie, introduce Wolverine, but don't make him a main character. Make him kind of like a supporting character, because it's kind of how his role is in the comics in a lot of cases. And more importantly, make him an established X-Men character who's been around for a while, but he's always, like, out and about on missions and shit. And he's coming back to help out with whatever they're working on now. And then you can kind of grow and evolve that character separately as you do more films. That's how I would personally handle it.
I think it's interesting, but I think there's so... Like, despite how saturated the movies are with Wolverine, like, in all honesty, like, Wolverine is, like, one of the main people that people think about when they think of X-Men. When they think of X-Men, they think of Wolverine. And to only have him playing like the only movie that they did it very well on was I believe he made that brief cameo in Days of Future Past. No, not Days of Future Past. Fucking First Class.
First Class.
Yeah, well, when Charles and Eric are running around trying to recruit people, they walked right up to him. He said, "Go fuck yourself," and they left. Perfect cameo. Mm-hmm. That's all you need. But I don't know if they can. I don't know if you could have an entire movie where he was just an ancillary character. I think he's either got to be a cameo where he shows up and everybody goes, "Hey!" and then he leaves.
Well, so the way I'm looking at it though, Ryan, is make him like the Jaws of your series. Jaws is the character you want to see in the movie the most. He's a title monster. He's the thing that causes all the action. That's what you want to see the most. You want to build that appetite for Wolverine. Don't show him at first. Just allude to the fact that there's a bigger team out there. And then slowly trickle him in until eventually it's like, okay, here comes the big event. Now he's got to be like not front and center necessarily, but up in the front lines with everybody else. And then once you've established how important he is to the team, then spin him off into his own thing, or maybe do some like, extra movies with him on board. Listen, I think Marvel's going to have fun with that no matter what they do, but I would personally kind of cool the stove on Wolverine for a little bit, because Cyclops has got nothing to do with this whole franchise. Storm's gotten fucked over this whole franchise.
Man, fuck Cyclops. I'm sorry.
Listen. I'm with you I'm with you on Camp Cyclops as a wet blanket, but there are good storylines with him, actually.
He killed Charles Xavier.
I know, but there are good storylines with him that could be brought to the front and center, especially when you can, like, really dive deep into the relationship between him and Jean. Because here's my thing about this, and I'm going to jump down to a question here real quick. So at the beginning of the movie, we see a love triangle between him, Jean, and Cyclops. And is it really fair to Cyclops, this whole love triangle, because we're introduced to him and he's kind of the antagonist in this relationship? Not like the villain, but in the love triangle, he's the antagonist. And we're immediately rooting for Wolverine because we're with him from the beginning. He's our POV character. And I feel like it's really unfair because, in all honesty, Wolverine's trying to steal his girl. If anything, we should be rooting for Cyclops because he's kind of like, hey, yeah, we're in a committed relationship here and you're being a dick about it.
I mean, I completely understand where you're coming from. But, however, Cyclops is a dick. And I'd rather see Jean with Wolverine. But, no, I definitely see where you're coming from. You're right, we are introduced to Wolverine first. He's definitely styled as the movie's protagonist, pretty much. Like, as much as it's a team, as much as it's an ensemble cast, let's be for real here. It's Wolverine, like, being introduced to the X-Men and trying to save this girl that he wants to protect. That being said, yeah, he meets this hot redhead, and she's definitely kind of feeling him a little bit, and then there's Cyclops is just this dick with Ray-Bans on, and we're like, boo! But you're right. I think if we had some more screen time for Cyclops, maybe gave him a little more development as a character, as opposed to him only existing as fucking
a foil.
I'm the guy that doesn't want you to be with Jean, and the guy who shoots things.
It's really two-dimensional.
Yeah,
it really is.
It is. It's very two-dimensional.
And
a lot of the screen time in the movie's power was put towards Wolverine. So you're right. It's kind of an unfair.
And more importantly, I have to ask you this, Ryan. What does their flaccid dick measuring contest say about Jean Grey and her character? Because I feel like they're fighting over her, and she's really not having any of it, or not really partaking in it. She's just letting it happen.
Jean is so underdeveloped in this
Absolutely.
movie. She's so I don't think Jean Grey as a character herself is a fucking boss.
Especially in the comics when she goes all Phoenix. Things get fucking crazy.
But I feel like they saved all of Jean's actual character development for X3 and then kind of did something weird with it. But we won't. We'll talk about that later. Yeah, no, I think the fact that this movie has so little screen time to do so many things and introduce so many people, I feel like the movie really banks on people knowing who these guys already are. And so they only spend time developing the guy that we know is going to be the most popular and
the highest paid actors.
Screen time is left towards, the highest paid actors and whatever screen time is left to actually kind of push the plot. Everything else kind of falls by the wayside, unfortunately.
And, I mean...
Which just sucks because Famke Janssen is a fantastic actor. Gorgeous, but ultimately a really, really good actress.
She can be. She
got underutilized.
There's a Netflix series I watched way back when called Hemlock Grove, and she's one of the main antagonists of that show. She is not good in that at all. But in her defense, nobody in that show is good at all.
Okay, so don't say that to Allegra. That's like one of her...
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Hopefully she doesn't watch this episode.
I watched a few years ago when it first came out. My mom and I watched 2 episodes, and we laughed our asses off the entire way through the first 2 episodes. It's so bad.
Oh my god! She's been trying to get me to watch it too. Fuck! Oh, that's great. That's awesome. Thanks, Aaron. Appreciate that.
There's a line in there too that I remember that was so bad. It was like one of the characters asks, like, one of the lead girls, how can I dance if I have no legs? And it's supposed to be, like, metaphorical, but, like, he's saying it, like, in the most literal sense. I'm like, what are you talking about, dude? The writing in that show is abysmal. It really is. Back to this, though. Back to this other abysmally written show. So...
Hey, some of it was written well. Some of it was written
maybe,
well.
but not this part, Ryan. So in the bar fight at the beginning, a man punches Wolverine in the head. And then he...
multiple times.
And I have to ask you, Ryan, how does his head not break on Wolverine's metal skull?
You know what? I can't tell you. Because it only seemed to hurt him when we had to make the characters aware that, oh, by the way, of course this guy is gonna win this fight. It's Wolverine. His fucking skeleton is laced with a near unbreakable metal.
I pointed out when we were watching it, and I'm like, wait a minute, he just punched Wolverine in the head. Then, like, 2 seconds later, he punches Wolverine in the fist, and he breaks his arm or his hand. And I'm like, okay, why the fuck did that hurt him, but the skull didn't? The skull's way worse.
Yep. Like that fight goes on for like a good 60 seconds before Logan's just like, alright, fuck all this. Boom! And it's just like, bruh, like he should have hit him in the jaw one time and be like, fuck! And that would have been the end of the
Absolutely.
fight. But it's not as maybe Logan is actually theatrically trained and was actually just doing a really good job of selling the fight before he just fucking raffle stomped all over the dude. I highly doubt.
Oh yeah, no, I don't think Wolverine gives that much of a fuck. Okay, jumping down. How is Toad able to handle 3 X-Men at once? Let me
bad fight choreography.
Let me correct that real quick. How is Toad able to handle Cyclops and 2 alpha level mutants at once?
Well, because it's fucking Ray Park. They're fighting Darth Maul with a long ass tongue. No, I'm sorry. I honestly, I feel like that fight goes on so long because it's one of the big action set pieces, and they want to showcase how the X-Men function as a team. Having them have a hard time to deal with Toad was not the way I would have told it. But when you have a great martial artist and stuntman like Ray Park on your payroll, you're gonna give him an action set piece to have fun with. So really, that was Toad just getting to play or to fuck around. But yeah, no, I mean, even Cyclops, as much as I hate this dude, Cyclops should have been able to just fucking redirect a beam off of some crazy angle and knock him the fuck out. That would have been the end.
Absolutely, that fight was like just silly as shit. And speaking of silly as shit, Ryan, Storm is just bad in this. Like, I like Halle Berry in certain things. This isn't it.
I love Halle Berry.
So,
this is not the move.
So, Ryan, what are some of your suggestions you have to improve her portrayal in these films? Because I'm sure we have a long list.
Man, drop the accent first.
Hey, what do you know? They're going to do that next movie.
I feel like they tried it. They saw the reaction to it, and they're like, you know what? She's just gonna be American. Fuck it. It's done. We didn't touch on the fact that she's from Africa all in the first movie anyway. Fuck it. It's fine. Don't worry about it. So drop that. Have her be more confident.
That is a big
I
one.
Would say. I mean, because fucking Aurora Monroe.
She leads the X-Men in multiple
occasions. Is considered a goddess.
Yeah.
Like Aurora Monroe is a fucking goddess. In her home continent.
Probably on the planet.
Like, they regard her as a goddess. I mean, her village regards her as a fucking goddess. Damn near Omega level mutant that can control the weather in wide stretches of space, and can pretty much take anybody head on because she, controls the goddamn elements.
Didn't she fight Thor at one point? I'm pretty sure she did.
I don't know if she fought him. She Thor has definitely flirted with Storm, and it was an amazing couple of pages. I'll show it to you later. But it's like in this movie, she kind of reads like a scared high school counselor, like on her first day.
Yeah.
And Storm is a badass. You need to like portray her as.
Well, like
such.
in the cartoon shows that I remember, she was like oozing confidence because she would always like advise Jubilee and other characters, you know, what they should do or what the world's like or something like that. She was the one who really has dove deep into what the mutants and the Xavier Mansion's all about to Jubilee, and to see her just kind of like not have a grasp on anything around her here, it just feels so out of character and weird. Like I understand.
It really
I understand
does.
cutting the Sabretooth backstory, I understand cutting other stuff out, but why'd you cut this out of all things? This seems like the biggest misstep of the whole film, honestly.
In all honesty, and I think Halle Berry was cast because of the power of her name, and because she's gorgeous. And like I love Halle Berry. I think she's a great actress in some things. I don't think she was the right fit for Storm. I think it might be a combination of that or just the direction that she was given. It would make sense if she was kind of shy if she was a student, but she's a teacher. She should be running this shit. She runs the institution when Charles is away. She's got to have more. She's got to be more. I think that was probably one of, if not the biggest missteps in the movie for me.
It's a real shame Denai is cast as Okoye, because I think she'd be a fantastic Storm going forward.
Oh my god, she would kill it. But she's already like whoever they introduce as Storm in the Marvel franchise, because we've already got Wakanda set up, it's gonna have to be somebody that's not from Wakanda or that's not played in Black Panther, because the marriage of Storm and fucking Black Panther is like huge.
I think you could get a minor actress from the movie, like someone who didn't really have any lines in the background. But yeah, anyone who spoke in that movie, you probably shouldn't grab because they probably have some importance to the main, like going forward in Black Panther films. Probably it'd be tough to pull it off.
Right, like. You can't have Denai being his fucking badass general and then have her put on a white wig and be like, aha, I'm Storm. Like, no.
I'd love to see that, and then you see T'Challa go like, no, Okoye.
Wait, weren't you just over there?
Okoye, quit that. Stop doing that. And she's like, oh, wait, hang on, I gotta go back to Georgia real quick and cut up some zombies. Be right back.
Fuck.
I hear she's gonna try to leave the show soon because fucking Black Panther is way more lucrative and more fun.
I mean.
Do you blame her?
No, I don't. I left The Walking Dead so long ago. It's time for her to. She has so many more lucrative prospects on.
I loved it when Negan signed on, and I feel bad because I love Negan as a character, but the rest of the show is just trash. Okay, next one, Ryan. Here's one that's interesting. You might want some explanation for it, but I want to see what you think. Is Xavier a good person, and is Magneto a bad person? Do you think this film paints them in a specific light that other media don't?
Oh, man, you can ask the deep questions. The deep questions.
I know, right?
Oh,
actually, I've got one more after this. That's also really deep.
I love this. I love this question. I mean, I think, as much as we rag on some of the miscasts of this, Patrick Stewart and Sir Ian McKellen, fantastic, nigh perfect cast for Xavier and Magneto. If I wanted to choose, and if I wanted anything else, I would want Magneto to not be as frail as Sir Ian McKellen.
I have a question about that.
But he makes up for it in just fantastic acting ability.
Absolutely. Do you think they're going to retcon his origin story down the road? Because I feel like if you keep making him World War II, he's going to be too old to be the character in the movie anymore. They got to do something about that. And there's got to be a more recent conflict in the world that they could pull Magneto from that could still work. I'm not going to say the camps down the border where all the Mexicans are at, but something similar. Something similar could happen.
Oh man, Mexican Magneto would be just too much. It would just be too much.
I'd say Middle Eastern.
It would be too on the nose.
I'd say Middle Eastern's also possible, but considering that the Brotherhood of Mutants are terrorists, that also might be considered racist too. So I'd stay away from that probably.
Yeah. I don't think they will retcon his origin story anytime soon because like being like Magneto being created at the hands of one of the worst genocides in human history is so integral to his character. Like you can't lose that. You just can't lose that. Granted, yes, the timeline is kind of working against us here because anybody like that survived from the fucking concentration camps probably not going to be threatening the entire world or being like this jacked fucking dude with white hair who can control fucking magnetism. Granted, but I think I don't like. It might be to the point where they just stop using him as an antagonist.
That'd be such that.
Or maybe having him in a more mentor role as like an antagonist. Because Magneto is so fucking powerful, he doesn't really need to be frontline fucking swole ass dude like at that point. He's literally magnetizing ions in the air and using them as energy beams at some point. It's just like, come on.
I mean,
what are you doing?
I mean, you're not wrong, but at the same time, though, so the example I want to throw out there is Seymour Skinner in The Simpsons. Back in the first 10 seasons, him being a Vietnam vet made sense. He was a 40-year-old man. That would have been the right time for him. And all the flashbacks really added to his character, really gave him a good backstory. We are now 30 years into this show. And that is now something that doesn't mathematically make sense because he's still 40 years old, and Vietnam was probably 60 years ago? And it makes it really hard to sell that character to anybody anymore. I'm not saying that you have to...
I get it.
I'm not saying you have to retcon Magneto, but I feel like there's got to be something to do because it's a shame to not have Magneto do cool shit because, let's be real here, he is probably one of the best characters Marvel's got for villains. And if MCU is going to be getting him soon, it would be a waste not to use him in his full capacity. Same with Doctor Doom, but he's easier to fuck around with. But Magneto, come on now.
Right. Magneto's hard to do because that defining moment is so rooted in history. You can't move that. Now, 20 years down the line, after hopefully this country has come to its goddamn senses, maybe. Just maybe we could have a Mexican Magneto at the American fucking concentration camps. Oh my god, I can't believe I actually said
Admittedly, that is still not the coolest idea. That's a cool idea.
Very, very far away. It's a really cool idea. It's just far too on the nose right now. So, getting back to your original question, I'm sorry.
It's a good tangent, though.
I love a tangent there. Is Charles a good person? And is Magneto a bad person? You know, honestly, I think the overwhelming strength of both of these characters is that it's not so black and white. Is that when you're introduced to them, you say, here's Professor Charles Xavier. He runs this school where he finds wayward youths with these special powers. He brings them in. He gives them a home. He teaches them how to use their capabilities to help their better man, including the people who are trying to hunt them down. Unequivocally good off the bat. Here's Magneto, a mutant radical who wants to do terrorist attacks in order to further his agenda. Automatically bad at the beginning, but when you actually start to get into both their goals, their rationalizations, and the methods that they use to pursue their goals and shit, it becomes grayer, and they become more complex, more three-dimensional characters. So honestly, I would say there's good and bad in both of them. I know that's a really shitty answer, but I love the fact that
the reason I ask is because I think Magneto is ultimately the for lack of a better phrasing, I think Magneto is the goodest bad person, and I think Xavier is a very questionable good person. And the reason for this is simple. Magneto's goal is mutant-kind to be on top. He is unequivocally good in the eyes of mutants. To us, yeah, he's a bad guy because he's trying to kill humans, and we're human, Ryan. I mean, it makes sense. But in the eyes of mutants, he is basically, like, trying to save all of them. It's not the best way to do it, but it's a way to do it. And who knows, maybe his methods are correct down the road. We can't say for sure. We've never seen the outcome of this stuff because this series is still going. Xavier, the reason I ask this specifically is because how do we know he's a psychic? He's the most powerful psychic in the world. And while we want to take him at face value and believe that everything he's got in at school is good, is everyone there of their own free will? Is everyone there of their own sound mind? I mean, we even see in later films that Jean is not fully there with the Phoenix being locked away in certain iterations or just certain details being omitted. And I'm not trying to say Xavier's a monster, but I do think that he is not on the up and up all the time. He's got his own problems he used to deal with, and he doesn't quite deal with them in a very upfront manner, is the best way to put it.
I love that. No, I do. I think one of the defining characteristics for both of the characters is the fact that they are people with really strong ideas given immense power. I mean, fucking Magneto's over here pulling up submarines out of the ocean. And Charles Xavier, when he puts on a helmet, can literally psychically affect everybody on the planet. These are guys with the power to pursue their goals. And in them both, you see how power actually changes them. You see Magneto, who is willing to use force to get the shit that he wants, even though his aims are, like, for his people, considered really good and noble. And you have Charles, who wants, like, good and equality for everybody, but the methods that he uses to get some of his things done are real suspect. So it's really a study in what power does to people as well, and that's why I think they're a really amazing pair. When we get later on down the line, when we get to, like, First Class and whatnot, like, they really kind of dive into the interplay between Charles and Eric, and I think that's like the best thing that those movies do. So, I mean, they got two fantastic actors to play them again. Really so do. I'm like, yes.
Okay, final question. I'm going to try to keep it quick.
They nailed it.
Is the mutant registration really a bad thing? Consider the events that the series will cover and the events of films like Logan, where mutants can lose control and their powers have a cataclysmic effect on everybody. Like, here's the thing. In the movie that we're presented with here, mutant registration is painted as bad because the person in charge of it is a bad person who wants to actually kill the mutants. He even says something to that effect in the film. So yeah, presented here, it is bad. Mm-hmm. But overall, let's be real here. These guys not only can hurt humans, they can hurt each other. And some of these powers are very mundane and simple. Some of them, like mentioned earlier, can walk through walls, which is a security threat. Some of them can mentally destroy an entire state if they really wanted to, or without even their own choice because, hey, Alzheimer's happens and Xavier can kill half a city. So, yeah, I feel like registration isn't a bad idea in this scenario, just from the sheer standpoint of we should know just what kind of person that we might be nearby and what kind of things they may do if things get out of hand. Which I know sounds horrible to say. It sounds so horrible to say.
So...
But, like, logistically speaking, is that a wrong thing to think about?
Logistically speaking, you're correct. Logistically speaking, the amount of threats that the mutant population kind of, like, portrays is definitely worthy of someone keeping an eye on it. I understand where you're coming from, and I agree to a certain extent. However, forcing a certain subsect of the population to register with the government as deadly weapons simply because of how they were born is really bad. Moreover, the fact that this subsect of humanity is not only like watched over vigilantly like a hawk, but also like their entire existence that like depends on the ruling of a few that we put in power that may or may not have people's best interests at heart. It's very, very easy for everything to go horrible if a couple of people at the top decide, fuck it, I want to work for myself, or I want to pursue this agenda of hate. I'm not talking about anything in particular, but what I mean to say is putting that, yeah. It's almost like the whole like setting of X-Men is used to paint social issues in a different light. I wonder. But I say all that to say that I think registration in spirit, like in idea, in like theory, is like necessary, but in practice, the idea of putting so many people under such surveillance and at the behest of people that may actually have ill intentions for them is just a bad idea, period. And it's automatically restrictive of their freedom simply because they were born a certain way, and that's not cool.
I feel like a mutant registration service that is run and directed by mutants themselves, because they would be the ones to best fairly ascertain how dangerous a mutant could actually be. They could be the ones to help train mutants to be better at what they do. And they could be the most fair in giving, rulings and explaining how things work versus just a bunch of racist humans doing it. So I think there's a middle ground somewhere, but I do think that...
It's almost like...
Oh, go ahead.
It's almost like you're describing Charles Xavier's school for mutants. Because
yes.
That's ultimately what ends up happening.
Yeah, yes, but on a more public scale, because like I said, someone like Xavier be on the streets and all of a sudden his brain explodes, because that happens in fucking Logan, probably something the general public should be wary of in case, oh hey, there's Xavier. Oh wait, he's fucking like 83 years old and hasn't had his Alzheimer's medicine. I'm gonna go fucking next state over for now. See you later. Or just put my tinfoil hat on, whatever works. Ryan, is there anything else we want to discuss before I jump on to our next segment real quick?
No, I'm down for it, because we could be here all night. If we start getting into the deeper social issues about X-Men in general, yep. We will be here all night.
So quick reminder about the mailbag, everybody. You can go to patreon.com/evacstation. You can also go to Tumblr, Twitter, or Facebook to comment on our stuff. Let us know what you think about the Mutant Registration Act, about the alignments of Magneto or of Xavier, or just what you think about X-Men in general. We love talking about X-Men, obviously, and fuck, I could even do a whole podcast on X-Men stuff because it'd be fun. But that's already been done by the Days of Future Cast boys. You should check them out; they're pretty good too. Ryan, if they want to email us directly about X-Men stuff, what should they email?
They should email nervoushighschoolcounselor@gmail. That's evacstation@gmail.
I want to bet $5. That's actually like a handle on OkCupid for somebody.
Nervous high school counselor,
yep.
100%.
So Ryan, I have a quick trivia segment for you, and I know we're going long, but it is going to be very quick. Ryan, are you ready for the newest iteration of trivia I've got for this little season we got going on here?
All right, let's see it.
This is going to be called X-Men or Bullshit. Is the following character an X-Men character, or is it bullshit? Ryan, are you ready to find out?
I am very ready for this. All right, let's go.
Okay, first character on the list, and I'm going to give you the name of the character and their quote-unquote mutant power. It may be accurate, it may be bullshit. It's up to you to figure it out. The first character I have on the list is Hepzibah, and their mutant power is retractable claws and mood-altering pheromones.
Hepzibah?
Hepzibah.
Bullshit.
Okay, that's 1. Number 2, I'll tell you the answers when we're all done. Forget-Me-Not. Mutant powers of imperceptibility and undetectability.
I'll say that's real.
I should probably write these down so I can keep track of them. Hang on a second.
You can just tell me I'm right or wrong.
No, I want to do a final score. It's more fun that way.
Well,
I've seen.
We'll still like do the final score like at the end, but.
Okay, I'm writing them down. Okay, next one, number 3, Biolante, mutant power to manipulate plants.
I'm absolutely sure that a mutant exists that can do that. I'm not certain of the name, so I'm gonna say bullshit.
Alrighty. Number 4, Ryan, Blindfold. Mutation is born without eyes, but is psionic.
Yes, 100%.
Yes to X-Men or yes to bullshit?
Yes, X-Men, sorry.
Okay, so to make sure. Okay, number... Where am I at here? 5? Plagueis. Mutant power to infect and control others with parasites.
Have you ever heard the story of Darth Plagueis the Wise? Fuck. What's the power one more time?
Mutant power to infect and control others with parasites.
I'm gonna say bullshit.
Alright. And final one, Ryan, Mastermind. Power to cast exceptionally powerful and realistic psionic illusions.
Yeah, I'll say that's real.
Alright, Ryan, are you ready? That gives you a rundown. Hepzibah is actually an X-Man.
Really?
Yep. Number 2, Forget-Me-Not, also an X-Man. You got that one.
Yep.
Number 3, Biolante is actually a kaiju. You got that one correct. It is bullshit.
Yes.
Blindfold is a mutant. Correct. Number 5, Plagueis was actually from Resident Evil, so you got that correct as well.
Aha.
Technically a mutant, but not an X-Men mutant, so you got that right. And last is Mastermind. That was actually one of the easier ones because he's been into a lot of shit, so he is also a mutant.
Gotcha.
You did really good. 5 out of 6.
Yay.
Hepzibah was what I was going to throw you off for sure.
Yeah, I was just like, what the fuck? That doesn't sound real.
Just you wait, Ryan. These are going to get very freaky.
Oh my god.
All right. With that, let's get to the final bit here. Reviewing the film. Gold, silver, platinum, all that nonsense in between. Ryan, what would you rank this movie? X-Men, the first movie, 2000, etc.
Man.
At the time, this probably would have been...
It was great.
At the time, this probably would have been like a strong silver or a gold.
Yeah.
But age...
I wouldn't have given it gold. I just said it's a strong silver.
Yeah. Age has not been very kind to it, though. Let's be real.
Yeah, I mean, like all props, it paved the way. It showed people the possibilities, and it will forever hold a place in my heart for that, especially with 9-year-old Ryan kind of just like go. I'm going to give it a bronze because there's definitely some real good parts of it. Some of the casting is amazing, and some of the scenes are pretty damn cool. But yeah, there's some of that writing, man. Some of that writing.
I'm on there with you. I'm going to go bronze as well. And that's because, like I said, it didn't age very well, but I can't go lower because it's a big part of X-Men history and comic book movie history because without it, we might not have gotten Spider-Man or the current MCU roster. This is actually a Kevin Feige produced piece. So, yeah. He was,
really? Now, that's really cool, actually.
He was around during this time. It was pretty cool. So, yeah, this is an important stepping stone. And I can't say any better about that, honestly. So it's got to be a bronze at the very least for me, hands down.
Yeah, 100%.
I don't want to keep you all too long because we have another episode to record, and this episode's already going a little long. So we'll see you after the credits.
Bye.